Now let's talk about what counts as plagiarism. As I mentioned earlier in this series of videos, I've had graduate students ask me before, how much do you need to change before it is not plagiarism? And how much material or how many words can I use without a citation? Well, those are both very good questions. It turns out that there are no hard and fast rules regarding how many words in a row would count as plagiarism. So the answer to a graduate student who asks, how much material can I use without a citation is, well, it depends. Opinions differ, and this is where some of the difficulties lie, in the lack of consistent rules. According to Ceccola and Shaw, Drum, and Hodges, anything 3 words or longer should be cited. Hexham, on the other hand, says that anything 4 words or longer should be cited. Roig says anything 5 words or longer should be cited. I would say that it depends upon both the content of the words and the context. For example, would I be guilty of plagiarism if I used this 7-word string without attribution or quotation marks? 2 heavy chains and 2 light chains. Well, as it turns out, this 7-word string gets used pretty commonly in scholarly journal articles that discuss the structure of a particular immunoglobulin molecule, not to mention some other molecules that have a similar structure. Sometimes it is attributed and sometimes it is not. It is almost never put in quotation marks from what I can tell. I would imagine that early on, in the first few years after this molecule's structure was discovered and published, researchers would routinely cite the various studies that were involved. Perhaps over time, this became less necessary as the structure became part of the common knowledge of researchers in this field. However, a good rule of thumb in this particular case would be to always cite a source for the concept, even if you do not need to put the 7 words in quotation marks. Now for another example. What if I used this 28-word string from Szabo 1998 without quotation marks and without attribution? Well, at this point we have crossed an invisible line through the gray area from a short string of words that might be either common knowledge or just a generic phrase that everyone uses, to a longer string of words that is more distinctive. This sentence expresses an original idea. The important thing is that this sentence is the original expression of one author. You should not use it without citation and quotation marks. However, what if I changed a couple of words, substituting synonyms for those words? What if I changed a couple more words? Well, the basic idea is still intact, as is the basic structure of the author's sentence. Just substituting a few words here and there falls into what Dr. Rebecca Moore Howard called patch writing. It is incomplete paraphrasing, and you shouldn't do it in academic writing. An acceptable paraphrase rephrases an author's ideas in your own words. It is okay to use a few words from the original. In fact, it may be impossible or unrealistic to try to paraphrase scholarly material without using some of the original words, particularly in the science and technology fields. Just don't use most of them and in the exact same order. Doing a good paraphrase means demonstrating that you understand the basic ideas of the original text and that you are not just parroting the ideas. Now, we are going to discuss ways that you can write well and in the process avoid plagiarism.